please understand you're going to have many of the same questions that we have. Many of the questions we aren't able to answer now. Some of it we'll know the answer, but we just cannot speak to it now. And we appreciate your cooperation and understanding. With that, Superintendent Doug Carter.
You know, I don't understand now. I didn't understand before, and I'm not sure we're ever going to understand why this continues to happen. It's the second time in Indiana, and my sincerest thoughts go to this community, go to the students, the faculty, the moms and dads, and everybody else that are associated with this school. As Captain Burston said, there has been loss of life here today, and I can't wait to be able to tell you what we know about today. We're not going to be able to do that, though. We're not going to be able to give you all the details that we know, but you will be extraordinarily proud of the staff at this building. Extraordinarily proud of the folks at the reunification process, even though it was not perfect. It can't be perfect with it being so dynamic. I think everybody understands that. But this is not okay. This is not okay. And rest assured that we collectively, with the City of Richmond, the police department here, the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, our federal partners, will continue to do all that we can do to answer these questions, because that's what we owe you. That's what we owe this community. That's what we owe this state. I've been in contact with Governor Holcomb today on a couple of different occasions. Very concerned about what happened here, of course, and stood behind us and pushed any and all resources that we have within the state police to the City of Richmond and to each and every one of you. We can't get our arms around what's happened to these kids today and what they heard. So let's not lose sight of that. There is no simple answer here, ladies and gentlemen, and to all the people that are listening and watching today, likely all over the country. But until we change the way we view violence, we're never going to get any better. And it breaks my heart to be here today and to stand here and say the things that I've got to say to you, because I can assure you we would do everything within our power to make sure that never occurred. Extraordinary heroism was displayed today by the Richmond Police, the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, and a trooper with the Indiana State Police before this ended. And again, I'll be able to tell you about that one day. Today's not that day. Jim Branham, the police chief from the City of Richmond, is a long-standing partner with the state police and with other law enforcement agencies around this county, to include Sheriff Kappa, who is also here today. So I will turn this over to Chief Branham to make a couple of comments.
Thanks, Superintendent. If you'd have told me 30 years ago that we needed to train our officers to respond to school shootings, I'd have probably told you were crazy. But unfortunately, that is the situation we find ourselves in, and it's something we've done for the past several years. So today went off as well as I think we could expect it to go. I couldn't have been prouder of all the law enforcement involved. These guys entered a school and ran towards the sound of shots, which is just pretty incredible to me. So again, as the superintendent said, there's a lot of questions that we still have. I'm sure we'll be talking again down the road. State police have come in to help us with this investigation, and that's just been a huge help to us. I'd like to introduce the mayor. Dave Snow is going to say a few words about our community.
It's been a difficult day. Later today on our schedule, our officers had planned to give away toys to children for the Christmas season. And instead, this morning, our officers were involved in an active shooting with a child of our community. This is tragic on so many levels. Any incident involving the loss of life is terrible, but it's exponentially compounded when it adds undue stress and anxiety to our children. To the students, the parents, the Dennis Middle School staff, and to the families who spent their morning worrying about the well-being of these kids, I say to you, I am so sorry. I've spent time here at this school. I've gotten to know some of these kids, and you should never have to feel unsafe in your own school. I want to give great thanks to our Richmond Police Department for their swift and certain action, as well as their Wayne County and state partners. Our officers take their sworn oath to protect and serve this community very seriously. And while there's no way to ever fully prepare for a situation like this, Their immense training and dedication to serve those in danger served us well today. It is situations like this that showcase the dangers our officers face every day in the line of duty and the lasting impact on those officers who must engage in this manner with a teenager. Today is a tragic day in Richmond. This is yet another example of gun irresponsibility and poor mental health awareness and access that often too leads to the death of our youth. Every day, parents, students, teachers, and community members from all over Indiana and the country live in fear that someday a situation like this will happen in their hometown. And for Richmond, today is that day. This is only going to continue until concrete action is taken so that guns do not fall into the hands of our kids. There will be people who will say this incident could have been much worse, and that is true. We're certainly thankful to our officers and our school officials for acting so quickly and saving innocent lives. However, tragedy is not measured simply by the number of lives lost. This is an unfathomably tragic incident that has become all too commonplace. The irresponsibility that leads to a child walking into a school with a gun is unacceptable in today's society. The emotions that are felt from tragedies like these don't fade when the media coverage fades. The emotions stay real for those that have lived through it. The school system, local, and state officers did everything right today. But until real action is taken, events such as the one that unfolded in Richmond today remain a real and unnecessary threat. Change must come. And until then, I call upon you to stay vigilant, stay aware, and take all threats seriously. Our police department will continue to protect this community, and will continue to speak up until we see that change. Gun violence such as this needs to be a part of our country's history and not a constant fear that it will continue to be a part of our future. I would like to introduce to you now Richmond Community School Superintendent Todd Terrell.
Thank you. You know, days like today are hard, and you don't expect to have to do this when you go into the field of education. But I've got to tell you, first and foremost, how thankful I am that all of our students are safe. All of our staff members are safe. All of the officers who responded in such a great and efficient way are safe. And that is a big blessing to all of us. You know, one of the things in the field of education today, school safety is a hot topic. And we spend a lot of time here in Richmond Community Schools training for situations like this. And I'm proud to say that our teachers responded appropriately, our staff members responded appropriately, our students responded appropriately. And that's not by chance. That's because they have taken these drills seriously. Our community understands the importance of that, and they did the right things today. I've also got to tell you that our parents have responded in an unbelievable manner. The reunification process was started in a very timely manner. We were able to get the students out of here safely, confirm that students were where they needed to be. Our parents showed up at the right locations, and we appreciate the manner in which they did so. We know that that's a tough thing when you're waiting on your student. Even if you know that your student's not physically injured, there's still a lot of other things that happened. Lastly, I'd just like to say that I'm so impressed today by our community, and that's not unusual here in Richmond. We are Richmond, and we are Richmond because of the way we come together and we fight through tough times, and we meet each other's needs, and we step up to the things that need to change. And I so appreciate the way that our police officers, the way that our community has come together to meet the needs of our kids, and will continue to do so. We're going to respond from this, and our kids are going to be fine. We'll be back. We're going to be strong. And we appreciate you being here today.
One of the things that I missed early on in my initial comments was the fact that somebody called before this occurred. That likely prevented a lot of lost lives. So we had an idea of what was about to happen, or what a person thought was about to happen, and that's what worked. That's what worked. So we'll take a few questions. Please understand that we have the same questions that you do, as Captain Burston explained, but I think now will be an appropriate time for us to turn this over to you.
Who is the person who came in with a gun? What is his connection to the school, if in fact it is a male? What can you tell us about that?
All we can speak to that right now, it is a juvenile. We don't release the names of juveniles. That potentially will come forward in the near future, but it's not coming out today.
Is he a former student of the school? How old is he? Is it
It's a 14-year-old male. He lives in the Richmond area. I am comfortable with telling you that he is not a student at this school.
Was he a student at the high school?
Student?
I have no other comments about the
Who
student.
called?
We are not going to release that information today, but we are very, very grateful to that person who made that call. Had they not made that call, there is no doubt in my mind that we would be having a much different conversation here right now. So that person's going through a lot of stress themselves. We know that those are things that people want to know now. It's not the appropriate time. We're not going to discuss that.
How did that suspect get the gun, and how many guns did he have?
Great question. That's what we're looking to find out.
Did the shooting begin outside and then moved into the school? We've heard several different stories from witnesses. What were the circumstances on that side street?
A release was put out earlier today that covers that information. Basically, it started outside. The student shot the window, shot the glass out of the door and entered the school. So the school door was locked. I want to emphasize that point. The school was on lockdown before this happened. When the officers arrived at the scene, they knew who they were looking for. They confronted him. He shot out the glass to the door, entered the school. The officers pursued. And that is all in the release as well.
In the exchange of gunfire, was this teenager hit by any gunfire from law enforcement?
We're waiting to determine that, and then we'll look for information from the coroner on that.
How long did you know about any threats at the school?
I don't
before
have
today?
I don't have that information now.
How quickly did the officers respond in terms of minutes?
The officers were here before circumstances happened, before the suspect was able to make entry into the school.
Fire his or her weapon.
There have been there were officers that fired their weapons. We don't know how many shots. Those are, again, you're all asking very good questions. We're 5 hours into this event. There's lots of work to do, and that's what our detectives are doing now.
Were the officers all state police officers, county officers, or city officers, or just who? What department?
You had the Wayne County Sheriff's Department, you had state police, and you had Richmond. Richmond and Wayne County were here immediately. We were here very quickly as well.
Who got here ahead of the gunman?
I don't have that. I can't give you a tick-by-tick moment of who got here when.
Was it a handgun the teenager had?
We'll discuss that in a later time. There were weapons involved.
More than one weapon on the teenager?
That's it. That's all I have. Okay, that's all that I can take for now. And as far as questions, again, you've heard me say it once. I'll say it again. You're all asking good questions. We don't have all the answers now, and when it's appropriate, we'll release that more information. The key takeaway is this school was prepared. They activated their plan. They did it properly. Law enforcement responded. We did what we needed to do. There's been a loss of life. That's always a tragedy. And we are hopeful that that family can get through that, and we're glad nobody else is suffering. Thank you all very much.
All right, so we're doing a little more this morning.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm 27, and that was tough to me.